Hi guys, I thought I'd do another video today to compare two similar handguns in my opinion, two that I've owned for a little while now. I have reviewed the P-07 here on the right before in a few videos, and on the left I have a Beretta PX4 Storm in 9mm. First I'm going to go ahead and show these are clear. That's why I have the magazines out. So let's go ahead and start with the one I've had the longest, which is the P-07. Put a ton of rounds through this thing, and it is, in my opinion, my favorite handgun as far as the compact size in 9mm. And I'll give you just a brief rundown. You can check out my other videos, and I kind of go through some of these features as well. But I'll give you the highlights of why I like the P-07. First is the ergonomics of the grip. There's just something about CZs and the way they feel in the hand, and it's just perfect in my opinion. It fits my hand very well. Everyone who shot this says it just feels great, and you know it's something about the high bore, or you know the high beaver tail allows for low bore access on this. The stippling, or the texture on the grips, is excellent. And the great thing about the new P-07 is the ability to change these back straps. Another thing I like about them is the trigger. So the double action, very smooth. It's about 10.5 pounds or so, I would guess, but it's smooth. Kind of hit that wall, then it breaks. Your single action, you have a little bit of take up, and it's about 3.5–4 pounds. Very, very, very good single action. You have that little bit of take up, then it breaks. Now you'll also notice, as I pointed out in my other videos, the P-07 does have the straightened trigger. So if you are looking at the Duty, which is the older model, it does have the standard curved trigger that you see on a lot of the other CZs, especially their steel frame or aluminum frame guns. Has standard 3-dot sights, really low profile, which I really like. And the way they maximize these sights, because they're swept back like this, you're getting the full length of the frame for your sight radius, which is really nice. You have nice serrations here on the front and the rear for cocking it, which you really need, in my opinion, for CZs, because they ride in the frame. So in order to get a lot of real estate up here, you're going to have to use those serrations to cock it. They take some weight off here on the slide by cutting it down. It has an accessory rail, a squared off trigger guard, very, very large in here. So if you wanted to run this gun with run this gun with gloves, it's very easy. Oversized magazine release, and you have the ability to either keep it with a decocker, which is how it comes from the factory, or you can change this to a safety. So it kind of gives you both options. If you want to carry it cocked and locked, add the safety, and you're there. I prefer decockers. I find them easier. If I'm going to carry it, that would be my choice. The magazine, 15-round capacity. Very nice magazines. And you get 2 of these with the P-07. Now let's look at the PX4 Storm. This is from Beretta. And this is actually the full-size model for them. They do offer a compact and a subcompact model. And you may be saying to yourself, well, why am I comparing a full-size PX4 Storm to the compact model from CZ? Would it be better to compare this to the P-09? I don't think so, in my opinion. And I'll kind of give you the reason for that. If you look at the specs of each gun, they're very similar in size. This has a 4-inch barrel. The P-07 has a 3.8-inch barrel. The capacity is a little different. So On the PX4 Storm, the full size at least, you're getting 17 rounds of 9mm. Nice magazines, by the way. You get 2 of these as well, made by Metgar, who, in my opinion, produce the best magazines in the world. So, awesome. And just of note, the M9 magazines do not fit, or the 92 series do not fit the PX4 Storm. And for what I've been told is that's to account for the 40 caliber. So they wanted to kind of do their own thing with these magazines. And I don't know if the Cougar magazines fit or not. I've never owned one, but they may fit. So you may have to look into that if you're looking for something that may fit the same size. Going back to why I feel these are a good comparison, even though this is a compact and this is technically a full size, is the weights are fairly similar. So your PX4 Storm here on the left, it comes in right at 27 ounces, right around 27.7 ounces according to the paperwork. And your P-07 is coming in right at around 23 ounces. So they're fairly similar in weights. The height of each is 5.3 for the CZ and 5.5 for the PX4 Storm. Your widths, your PX4 Storm's coming in at 1.4 and your CZ is coming in at 1.46. So very similar widths as well. And you know, that's kind of why I feel they're a pretty fair comparison between both of them. Now let's go back to the PX4 Storm. There are some things I definitely like better about the PX4 Storm than I do about the CZ. One of those things I really like about the PX4 Storm is the way it operates. So instead of a traditional locking lug system for the barrel, this actually has a rotating barrel. And let's see if I can show that on camera. You can see it actually rotates. And I found that that actually reduces the felt recoil, for me at least. And in my opinion, that it's a superior design. Now, you know, a lot of people would say, hey, it's not. You know, there's a ton of locking lugs, traditional style, Browning design guns out there in the market, and they've worked well for years. Yeah, I agree. But I really like the way the rotating barrel works, and I just find it easy to control. And that's kind of a big plus, in my opinion, for the Beretta. Now, kind of like the 92 series, this does come standard with a slide-mounted safety that also acts as a decocker. So if I cock it and put it back on safe, it's going to automatically decock it and it'll stay on safe. Now, Beretta does offer an option to change this to a G-type. So if you were to cock it and pull it down, it would automatically flip up. So it would be a decocker only. I would probably switch that, in my opinion, and I probably will. I haven't had this too long. I've put a few hundred rounds through it, and I really like it so far. That's probably something I'll do in the future, but it's not a killer for me. And you know, it works well, and I can't complain about it. It's just something I would prefer to have just a decocker only. Something I do not. So let's go through a few things I do not like about the PX4 Storm. It does have these forward cocking serrations and rear cocking serrations. I find them a little tight, so I can't quite get a good grasp on it, just like I do on the P-07. The P-07 has them spaced further apart, and I find it much easier to grab the P-07 than I do the PX4 Storm. It's not a big deal, it's just something I prefer on the P-07. Some other things I don't like about the PX4 Storm: polymer trigger. I'm not a fan of polymer triggers. I feel they flex a little bit and it can change the way you're firing the gun. I don't like the magazine release, and the reason for that is it's just small. Now, it is reversible. If you're a left-handed shooter, then that's great, but I find it really small here. And when you look at the P-07, it's really nice and big. It's really easy to find when you want to do quick reloads. It's just much better, in my opinion. Another thing I don't like about the PX4 Storm are the grips. So I do like that the front and the rear are really nicely textured, and you can change this grip. It has two different modules that come with it that you can change it for a little larger. One has a beaver tail that's more extended, and I like the texture on this. I just wish they put it on the sides. It's really slick here. So, you know, I don't have any problems grasping it and shooting it, but if I was sweating, I think that would be a problem. And I think CZ gets it right because they texture the whole grip. So you got it on the front, the sides, and the rear. And that's not coming out of your hand. I don't care how much you're sweating. So that's something that, you know, I kind of do not like about the Beretta. And if I do decide to keep this, I'll probably stipple this myself, just for my, you know, my own sake. What I can say, another thing I like about the Beretta is the takedown. It's super easy. Let's see if I can show this on camera. You press down on these tabs right here, and then the slide comes right off. Super easy. It's probably one of the easiest guns I've ever had to disassemble. Let's see if I can get that in there. Throw it back on, you're ready to go. Now let's talk about the trigger on the Beretta. The double action is very heavy. So, fairly smooth, but that's got to be close to 12 to 13 pounds. Just heavy. And that may soften up over time, but for now, it's tough. It's tough to shoot double action. Single action is not bad. So single action, you have that little bit of take up, then it breaks. You're looking at right around 4 pounds, 4.5 pounds. It's actually really nice in single action. I shoot majority of my rounds in single action. I think I only put probably 10 rounds double action through this gun. And, you know, it shoots very well in single action, so it's not a real big complaint for me. Another thing you have to worry about on this, or not worry about, another thing that's kind of a detractor on this is the sights. They aren't bad. I like the 3-dot system. But when you compare it to the P-07, see if I can show this on the camera, it's actually the same sight radius on both. So you've got a 4-inch barrel compared to a 3.8-inch barrel, and you have the exact same sight radius on these. So, in my opinion, that's an advantage for the P-07. You're getting the same sight radius in a smaller package. Now, will that make a difference for the majority of shooters? No, not really. But it's just something to consider. Overall, I gotta say I'm impressed with both these firearms. If I had to choose one, though, the P-07 still gets my nod. I like the PX4 Storm. It shoots well, but the P-07 offers, you know, almost the exact same features, if not better features, for about the same amount of money. Both these guns run retail for around $400 to $450. I actually picked this P-07 up for a little less than $400, but I found a good deal on it. And I actually picked this Beretta up for less than $400, but I found a good deal on it. So overall, they're about the same price range. They offer similar features. They have a different way of doing it. And I just wanted to show a video trying to compare the sizes, what they offer as far as features. And hopefully that'll help new shooters who are probably looking for one of these mid-range price guns. Not even mid-range, really entry price guns. And hopefully that helps you out. If you are interested in at least the P-07, I've made a few other videos. Check them out. I compared it to the P-01 from CZ. I compared it to the Glock 19, and I compared it to the Sig Sauer SP 2022. So I try to make these videos to compare entry-level guns for people that are looking for their first concealed gun, carry gun, looking for a nightstand gun, home defense, and hopefully these are helping you guys out. And I'll try to continue to make videos doing these comparisons. Thanks as always for watching. Put any comments you have in the comments section below, and I'll try to answer them as quick as I can. Thanks as always, guys.